Led the majors in hitting 3 of the last 4 years. Fouled away, and that was a protective swing. It was a fastball on the outside part of the plate. You talk about hitting a ball out of the catcher's mitt. That's just about what he did, and that's why he's such a great hitter.
That's right. When he gets the count of 3-2, the pitcher's in the hole. That was the emergency swing. You only swing in case of emergency.
0-2 the count. Gooden with 1 strikeout. Got a bad play by Hernandez, so now he's struggling. And that's hit down the left field line. It is in there. Fair ball and going in the corner. In comes Owen. To third goes Clemens on a double by Boggs. And the Red Sox lead the Mets 1-0 in the 3rd inning. And make no mistake about it, the atmosphere here in New York has changed dramatically from what it was before the start of the first game.
Watch him go with the pitch. He was going that way all along. He programs himself. There's the base hit. Fair by a couple feet. The day before, he works it out, and then with Walt Hriniak, his guru, he sits with him, and before the game starts, he has a mental picture of 4 swings and the perfect swing, and he compares it to a pitcher who he has faced. Now, we said earlier, it's Mike Moore of Seattle who comes closest in Wade Boggs' mind to Dwight Gooden as far as delivery.
Well, with runners at 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. The error by Hernandez, a big play. Here's Marty Barrett. Breaking ball, ball 1. There was almost a defiant air in New York from the fans, particularly, of how good the Mets were. They were Destiny's darlings, and they were going to, in some quarters, even sweep the Red Sox. But the Red Sox feel that they have a chunk of destiny going for them. And when they won 1-0 last night, all of a sudden the city of New York is not quite so sure. 1-0. And that's hit into right field, and that's a base hit. In comes Clemens, holding at 3rd. Will be Boggs, and you have 1st and 3rd, 2-0 Red Sox in the top of the 3rd inning.
And once again, it's Marty Barrett who's in the middle of it, and Johnson motioning that we're going to try to get 2. The big base hit by Boggs gets us started, and Barrett, one of those guys, just comes up and keeps it going. And you knew he was going to get a piece of that ball. He was going to hit it to the right side and right side deep. If he gets a ground ball, they were going to pick up and run. I tell you, the playoffs and the World Series have really shown what a good ball player that Barrett is.
And what a fine club the Red Sox are. As we mentioned at the outset, in history, down 3, won the postseason contest. Pittsburgh and Washington in 1925, the Yankees in 1958, Detroit against the Cardinals, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and of course last year Kansas City at Toronto and Kansas City against St. Louis. Well, here come the Red Sox. 2-0 Boston, and Bill Buckner trying to really drive one into Gooden with 1st and 3rd and nobody out. Buckner lined to Santana in the 1st inning. Ball 1. Buckner, of course, with the bad legs, was 2nd in the major leagues and led the Red Sox in grounding into double plays, 25. And if you remember, he hit into a double play in the 1st inning last night. He's wearing those high top shoes, and he has vowed to never play another game without wearing them. 1 ball and no strikes. Off speed, and it's hit into right field for the base hit. In comes Boggs. Stopping at 2nd is Barrett, and for a slumping New York Mets team, they're down 3-0.
That slow curveball really surprises me because they had the gap between 1st and 2nd, and it's really the one pitch that he can pull. Now, Hernandez kind of guarding that line, but it's in the hole. Boy, I would think they'd go with Smoak.
No, I'll tell you one thing about it, Joe. I do know that one of the scouting reports said if you throw changes and off-speed stuff to Buckner, he will hit a ground ball. And they're thinking of the double play, but instead he singled to right.
Yeah, but when you got that big gap between 1st and 2nd, and talking to Hernandez before the game, that's the one thing he wants to protect against is that slow curveball. With the man on, he can't get off that far. That's the one ball you can pull. and you're looking for the ground ball, granted, but I think with Gooden, I don't think I'd thrown that lollipop curveball.
Well, it is 3-0 Red Sox in the top of the third. They have had 3 consecutive hits after the error by Hernandez. A double by Boggs, a single by Barrett, a single by Buckner, and now here's Jim Rice. Barrett at second and Buckner at first, and still, remember, nobody out.
Watch the first pitch.
That's his style. First pitch fastball and a towering drive to right. The runner at second, Barrett, will tag. Strawberry for the catch, and Barrett will move over to third. Buckner, of course, staying at first. So Rice a long out to right, but he does pick up one man 90 feet.
The reason you say that, after all that, you think that maybe the young pitcher will be thinking about the slow curveball, the bouncing ball. It could have been a double play, and it wasn't, and the run is in and all that. You say he might just let up a little bit to get ahead of me. And that good hitter like Rice not going to let you do that.
A very, very somber and quiet and less than optimistic New York Mets bench. It is 3-0 Red Sox in the third for a team that hit 189 against Houston, and for a team that was shut out last night, and a team that has failed to score in the first 2 innings tonight. They're carrying around a heavy weight. Here's Dwight Evans. That off ball for a strike. 0-1. Standing at third is Marty Barrett. Bill Buckner over at first. One away. 3-0 Boston. Top of the third. And a breaking ball, and he was over anxious and chased a bad one.
Now that was a curveball. That was a hard curveball. Now you throw that to Buckner, and I can't second guess that. But that lollipop rainbow American Legion job, you got to wonder.
0-2 the count to Dwight Evans. 3 runs in the bank for Boston, and they have runners at first and third with 1 out. 0-2. Time. Gooden began the inning with a walk, and then of course the bad play by Hernandez. Then Boggs doubled and singles by Barrett and Buckner. Fastball, and that takes care of him. Foul tipped and held by Gary Carter. That's the second out, and it's also the second strikeout for Dwight Gooden, whose high this year was 13 in a game against Pittsburgh.
Target's right down the middle, and that's where it was. Just a good hard fastball.
So with 2 down, Rich Gedman the batter. Gedman grounded out in the second inning. Buckner at third. Hernandez behind Buckner. He's not going to hold him on. Little heat away. Ball 1. 1-0. Gedman swinging a big bat and carrying a gun. He's done a great job on enemy base runners. 1 ball and no strikes. 2-0. After Gedman, you have the center fielder Dave Henderson. Fastball fouled away. Tim Tuffle was very careful and did a very good job in interviews after the game last night. The kid who committed the error at second base and it meant the game. And he was talking about the crowd here at Shea, and he said, I don't want to sound like I'm imitating Yogi Berra, but he said, you hear this crowd even when it's quiet. Well, I'll tell you one thing, I don't remember it being any more quiet than it is last night and again tonight. 2-1. Fouled away. 2-2.
There was the classic Charlie Lau, Walt Winiak swing. When he finished up, the hand was off and the bat was way back in the air. Watch it. Watch that top hand come off and watch that bat.
Yeah, we saw it last night until finally somebody hit Carter in the coconut.
That happens all the time. I think Bob Brenly, the catcher, had the best. He said, catching all year, when you go home at the end of the year, you feel like a used car.
Is it true you caught without a helmet? 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I won't answer that.
Almost got a piece of him. And what it's going to do, and it's not much of an advantage, but when you have a one-legged runner, it's an edge. On a full count and 2 down, Buckner will be going. It might be a long trip, but he'll be going.
It gives him a chance to kickstart his body is what it does.
Barrett down the line from third. Buckner ready to go at first. 3-2 to Rich Gedman and 2 out. 3-0 Boston. Top of the third. Oh, the big Uncle Charlie, or as they say with Dwight Gooden when they talk about the curve, Lord Charles. But it's 3-0 Red Sox. Captain Patrick Henry of the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise at the controls. By the way, last night was the first night a Goodyear Blimp has ever covered a game at Shea Stadium because of the LaGuardia air traffic. And did you notice that harvest moon up there in the sky? That harvest moon, so far at least, it's been the Red Sox doing the harvesting, and they're leading 3-0 in the bottom of the third.
There it is. Vin, when you mentioned air traffic, Keith Hernandez was holding a seminar on how to judge how the wind blows by how the planes land. And he was telling us if they've come overhead, the wind's blowing in left field. I couldn't believe it. Usually you just throw up some grass, but he says it swirls here, so you go by the airplanes.
Well, Rafael Santana will try and get started with Dwight Gooden on deck, and it's a strike. Roger Clemens probably shocked the nation, not to mention what he did to his own system and to the city of Boston when he blew a 3-0 lead in the 9th inning to the California Angels. 1-1. The Mets in the third. 3-0 Boston. Santana will bunt, and he will either drag or push sometimes, and the infield is back. Foul back. However, if you are a bunter, you would much rather bunt on a breaking ball, and here you got a guy with high heat. He doesn't figure to get many chances to lay him down.
It's going to be tough. We mentioned, especially with Dykstra and Backman, excellent bunters. Roger, in addition to throwing hard, he's a good fielder who protects his position.
1-2 the count to Rafael Santana. Fouled away. Santana, yet another youngster coming from the Dominican Republic to play in the big leagues. You can call off a litany of names. One of 8 major league shortstops from the Dominican. Mariano Duncan, Jose Uribe, Tony Fernandez, Rafael Ramirez, Julio Franco, Alfredo Griffin, and Andres Thomas, all from the Dominican Republic. Fastball hit over the mound off the glove of Clemens, deflected to Owen, who has trouble throwing it. It's too late. And the ball pops out of Buckner's mitt anyway, but Spike Owen double clutched and still couldn't get it.
It was deflected by Clemens, and that's what made the difference. He couldn't get the ball out of his webbing. Watch it. Just enough. And he really threw a palm ball over there is what he did. He really couldn't get anything on it. Kind of a funny hop, and he couldn't get a good grip on it, and it just kind of lobbed over there, an infield fly throw.
The interesting now with Dwight Gooden, he's not a bad hitting pitcher at all. The National League, they like to keep the ball down on him. He is also a good bunter. He has sacrificed 13 times, and that's what they want him to do in the air. Off the glove of Buckner. He is not going to have a play.
He pushed that ball. He tried to make the catch, and when he saw himself falling, and they're certainly going to bunt it towards Buckner's way, it was not a good bunt, but perfect with the results.
And suddenly the Mets and their fans come alive on 2 infield singles, one off the glove of Clemens, and now the bunt to Buckner. And Davy Johnson rubbing his eyes, hoping the Mets will wake up offensively. And Lenny Dykstra followed by Wally Backman. 3-0 Boston.
The big meeting on the mound, you're going to try to set up a defense, and Dykstra, a tough man to double up. He got it going.
John McNamara placidly looking on. He is not one to show much emotion. In fact, you alluded to the quiet Marine, Gil Hodges, last night.
He runs that ball club, and Davy Johnson has put his play on. Boggs is expecting a bunt. He's kind of moving in there. Dykstra can do most anything. Fake the bunt and hit it down there. I don't know if he's bunting. I would not be looking for it.
Santana at second, Gooden at first, nobody out. And he's going to bunt, and it's a good one. Over to get it is Boggs. The throw to Buckner got him. However, he runs his mutters along, and there are second and third with one out, and Wally Backman coming up.
He was bunting for the base hit, and it was a beauty executed because it took a good play by Boggs. Watch this. Boggs is back. Dykstra thinks right between Clemens and Boggs. Good play by Boggs.
They'll rule out a sacrifice to advance the runners. And now with second and third, as Dykstra has moved them up a notch, the batter will be Wally Backman, followed by Keith Hernandez. Santana at third, Gooden at second. Remember, all last night we marveled at how the Mets failed to challenge Buckner with bunts. Well, it has already put the Mets in an offensive position here in the third, but the Red Sox lead 3-0.
And the ball hasn't left the infield.
Ball one.
This is a kind of an inning that could get a ball club started.
And Buckner is deep on the right side. He can't afford to charge a left-hand hitter if you think that Backman can pull. Remember, he was second in the National League in sacrifices, so you know how well he bunts. San Francisco's Rob Thompson led the league. Fisted, foul down the left field line and slicing well out of play. And the count 1-1 strike. In the inning, Santana, a high hopper over the mound, off the glove of Clemens, grabbed by Spike Owen, who had trouble with it, threw late to first. Gooden bunted, a little pop bunt. Buckner a sprawling attempt and couldn't handle it. Dykstra bunted them along, so 3-0 Boston. Second and third, one out, and Clemens trying to drill Backman. 1-1. Ground ball up the middle, base hit. In comes Santana, and they're going to hold Gooden at third. Bud Harrelson down the line to stop Dwight, and that will bring up the man whose error contributed so heavily in the top of the third, Keith Hernandez.
Backman, who uses the middle of the diamond, he figures if I hit late, it's going to be a base hit. If I hit early, it's a base hit. If I hit it perfectly, right back up the middle. Hernandez's error was the Mets' second error, and here it is. They committed only one error in the championship series. There's his throw.
And that's the play he wants to forget right now as he checks in against Roger Clemens. Dwight Gooden down the line from third. Wally Backman at first. One out and one in. That's the fork ball in there for a strike, and the count 0-1. Gooden down the line from third. Backman held on by Buckner. One away. Al Nipper is up in the Red Sox bullpen. 1-1 strike. Nipper was up same time yesterday, back of Bruce Hurst. There's Al. One and one to count to Keith Hernandez. Hernandez walked in the first inning. He wants a birthday present early. He'll be 33 tomorrow. Little foul off third. It will not be playable.
When you look at this inning, then you can see why when you scout this Mets ball club, you say you got to keep that Dykstra and Backman off the bases because they are the table setters. They are the catalysts. They make it happen. Dykstra trying to beat out the bunnies. Even with the out, he picks up a couple bases. Backman comes up, he gets the base hit. Now the big guys are up there.
1-2 the count to Keith Hernandez. Remember, Clemens has struck out 3. He has walked 2, And the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Fastball hit off the leg of Clement. Over to get it is Boggs. Off balance throw, got him. And a fine play by Wade Boggs. Scoring is Gooden. It is now Red Sox 3, Mets 2. Oh, what a wonderful play by Boggs to be able to react like that. And the first question is, Clemens all right? He took a lick.
And Boggs has to barehand that play. I tell you keep talking about his hitting, but he's worked hard on his fielding. And last night he made the play of the game, and he makes a beauty right here.
Gary Carter.
So Gooden brings in a run to aid his own cause. We'll take another look and see where it hits Clement on the inside of the left shoe, although he did get his glove down. It's a 1-5-3 out thanks to Boggs. The tying run is now at second with 2 out, and trying to pick him up, Gary Carter. The Mets had gone 11 innings failing to score, and now break that with a deuce here in the 3rd. Big bouncer smothered by Boggs, who makes the play.
What a clinic he put on this inning.
So the Mets are bogged down, but they do come up with 2. And at the end of 3, the Red Sox 3, the Mets 2. We're digging in for a tough night, but what a start for Wade Boggs.
He really made some good plays. There's a play off Carter. It's one thing to dive and not get that ball jarred loose, and then have enough presence of mind to get up and gun it over there, which he did. Many times guys will make a play and they'll want to have a press conference after they have a great play and say, hey, look what I did.
So Wade Boggs, who is known for his bat, puts his glove in the display window tonight, made a fine play on the comebacker by Hernandez that hit Clemens off the leg, and then tops that as he takes a hit and an RBI and the tying runaway on the ball hit by Carter.
You see a guy like that in the years he's had with the bat, how much he's improved with the glove, because that was supposed to be the rap against him. Good hitter, but didn't know what to do with the glove, and he's worked, and you just saw tonight what he can do with that glove. He's done a pretty good job with it.
Here's Dave Henderson. He'll be followed by Spike Owen, and then Roger Clemens. Al Nipper has stopped throwing in the bullpen. Henderson flied to center in the 2nd inning. If you are a baseball fan, you're also a historian. One goes with the other. And in this dream matchup tonight of Dwight Gooden and Roger Clemens, just riffle through the pages of baseball history, and there have been some magnificent matchups. A towering smash into left center. Dykstra to the track, at the wall, gone. Hendu hits it out, and the Red Sox lead the Mets 4-2. And look at that fan holding onto his head.
And there's nothing that'll deflate a ball club and pick up your own club more than what just happened here. The Mets came back, and momentum is going with them, and now the first batter comes up. He says, hey, forget that momentum. I'm going to take it back, and he hits the home run, and you can see it on that Red Sox bench. He really answered the runs by the Mets with this tremendous home run. I mean, it was up there a long time. It could come down with some little ice caps on it.
The interesting thing about Dave Henderson, he doesn't hit home runs at Fenway Park. The people in Boston have seen him do it on television. He has yet to hit a home run at Fenway in a Boston uniform. The pitch now to Spike Owen. You remember his one hit against the Angels in Anaheim, a big home run, and it's happy time in the Red Sox dugout.
That's the kind of home runs Ralph Kiner used to hit. High, towering jobs. It just went on and on. You could show movies on them as they went out towards the fence.
0-1 to count. Good breaking ball, strike 2. With Gooden and Clemens, and you think about some of the great matchups, starting with Red Ruffing versus Carl Hubbell, and Bob Feller against Johnny Sain, Warren Spahn and Whitey Ford, and Sandy Koufax and Whitey Ford, and Bob Gibson and Denny McClain, and Tom Seaver and Catfish Hunter, just to mention a few. Ground ball up the middle. So here come the Sox. They come right back after the Mets. A home run followed by a single, and Roger Clemens coming up in what would appear to be another bunt situation.
That's exactly what Hernandez is going to tell Dwight Gooden as we look at Mel Stottlemyre and Davey Johnson. Hernandez, who sets up a couple plays, if he's going to go in and go back for a possible pickoff, he'll tell him which pitch, like maybe on the second pitch or whatever. But I guarantee you they'll be charging hard this time.
It was interesting, too. We take a shot at Mel Stottlemyre after we're talking about great matchups. Stottlemyre, the pitching coach for the Mets, went up against Bob Gibson 3 times in the '64 World Series. You draw the aces if you're a good pitcher. And he wound up 1-1 with the great Gibby. So Clemens looking to bunt. Howard Johnson on the grass at third. Hernandez ready to come to the plate. And that's a little high.
It's going to be tough to bunt it down at first base line. There goes Hernandez again. He's the defensive general, and what he does, he tells him, hey, I'm going to go in, so don't throw to first base, or I'm going to go in a couple steps and I'm going to go back. He leaves nothing to chance.
1 ball and no strikes to Roger Clemens. Nobody out in the 4th. 4-2 Boston. Ball 2. Clemens looking right into the dugout rather than normally at the third base coach, and now he looks at Latch, but he's still looking really into the dugout. And Rene going through the signs.
Got to believe that means absolutely nothing except keep bunting. And Clemens wasn't sure, and he backed out, and Rene had to go through him again.
It's amazing, though, during the course of a year, how a manager will be seduced into taking the bunt away because of the count.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there you see, I told you.
I can't believe that.
Let me tell you, I've seen it a million times. You say to your pitcher, go up there and bunt because I want to stay out of the double play, okay? And all of a sudden the count is 2 balls and no strikes, and you say, I can't resist it. Take a shot.
When was the last time he batted?
A junior in college.
And so 2 balls and no strikes against Gooden. I mean, you think he's got the upper hand?
Hey, baby, you're looking at it.
I'm watching it. Who wrote that book?
2-1 the count.
He'd be bunting from the time he got on the team bus.
Now let's see if he's back to bunting again. Yep. And the bunt, a chopper, and this time Hernandez only play is to Backman covering. So Clemens, as if he's been doing it all year, lays down the bunt after taking a shot. And with a runner at second and 1 out, Wade Boggs will be coming up. Rick Aguilera begins to loosen up in the Mets bullpen.
I would expect him to be a good bunter as we look at Aguilera playing for Cliff Gustafson down in Texas, because basically good fundamental coach, but hitting, that's natural. You either can or you can't, and I'm representing those that can't.
He must be a great hitter. They let him swing 2-0 in the World Series.
What a matchup.
Boggs. Boggs robbed of a hit by Backman, doubled, and then made 2 great plays defensively in the 3rd inning and fouls it away. Interesting, a bat manufacturer gave each Red Sox a memorial bat for the year 1986. Now, the pitchers never used a bat in the American League, so they opted, all of them, for a Wade Boggs model. Smart.
See what Bob Stanley said? He said he hopes he gets a chance to break his bat so he can put it in a trophy case. And he's going to be like Lefty Gomez. The only way he can break it if he backs over him coming out of the garage.
0-1 to count to Wade Boggs. Trying to pick up Spike Owen at second base. It's 4-2 Boston. We're in the top of the 4th inning. One and one.
Vin, it's interesting that Dykstra is now pretty much straight away. I mean, he was a little bit over in right center. There you see him. Now, Boggs uses the center of that diamond. That fastball, he'll go from the middle of the diamond over. The breaking ball, he'll pull.
1-1 to count to Wade. And there's the breaking ball, but he missed outside with it. Ball 2, 2-1. Aguilera throwing in the Mets bullpen for 2 reasons. If the Sox get out of hand, they'll have to go for the hook. But also, Gooden is due to bat 5th when the Mets come up in the bottom of the 4th inning. So Johnson, looking ahead, might be thinking hitter. 2-1. Ball 3. On deck is Marty Barrett. The shortest outing for Dwight Gooden this year, 4 innings. The Giants chased him out, and the Reds did it in 4. Well, we're in the 4th tonight. 3-1. And on the hands, and they got to play at third. Santana goes to Johnson. A bad base running play by Spike Owen. I don't know where he was going.
He just took off when the ball was hit. He'd like to take it back, and there's nothing Latchman could do because it was an easy play for Santana. That's the kind of a play that the coach tells you it's in front of you. Make sure it gets through there. Now he knows he's in no man's land, and he's out from here to next Wednesday.
So Spike Owen is hung out to dry without any dispute, and with Boggs at first and 2 down, Marty Barrett will be the hitter. Looks like they're trying to make a wish. Barrett grounded out and singled to right in the 3rd inning. Strike. Red Sox 4, Mets 2, top of the 4th.
He wanted to hit that pitch with first base, a little gap between first and second. That's where he likes to punch that ball, and he steps right into it going to the opposite field.
Remember, he got that ball down and away last night. It was a perfect pitch for him because he likes the ball away. In there. 1-1 to count. 2 down, a run over in the 4th on the home run by Henderson. Wade Boggs aboard on the fielder's choice.
There's the area between first and second. You just saw the way they line up. Dykstra a bit over in right center field.
They give him all of the left field line and corner. And he goes the other way, inside first and down the line. Strawberry over to get it. Barrett will hold at first, and Boggs goes to 3rd. So he likes that ball out there, and the Mets, who were burned last night, are burned again tonight. And Marty Barrett is 2 for 3.
That is not an accident. That's just good hitting. He goes that way. A contact hitter. He was trying to hit the right field. Down the line it goes. And normally that should be a 2-base hit, but because he goes that way, they were playing over that way, and he could only get a single, but he keeps it going and gets Buckner up there.
So Gooden, who has not worked since the 14th of October, he is certainly well rested, and that was the first time in his career he pitched more than 9 innings. He had a no decision in 10, and Mel Stottlemyre on the phone to make sure that Rick Aguilera is ready. Bill Buckner is ready at the plate with runners at first and 3rd, 2 out, a run in, and 4-2 Boston. In there.
He's made 68 pitches, Vin, and we are in the 4th inning.
So if you multiply that by 2 and then add another inning, he is suddenly in the twilight zone in the 140s, up in the 150 if he got to the 9th inning. But again, remember, he is well rested. Sisk has now joined Aguilera. 0-1. Fly ball to left field. Back on the ball is Danny Heap, and puts it away. 1 run, a home run by Henderson, and the bad play by Owen deprived the Red Sox of another. And at the end of 3.5, Red Sox 4, New York 2. Talk about history repeating itself. 7th inning last night. Jim Rice at second base, 1 out, and Rich Gedman hits a ground ball to Tim Tuffle through his legs for the error. Rice scores, and the Mets lose 1-0. Let's turn the clock back. 1973. Kenny Holtzman had doubled for Oakland. The batter is Bert Campaneris. A ground ball to the right side to the Mets second baseman named Felix Millan. Right through his legs. Holtzman scored. Campaneris scored later. It all came with 2 out. They were 2 unearned runs, and Oakland won 2-1. Now it's Darryl Strawberry, Danny Heap, and Howard Johnson. Strawberry struck out in the 2nd inning. The quiet guns of October as far as the Mets are concerned.
We talked about Gooden's pitches. Vin in 4 innings made 69 so far. Clemens has made 59 pitches with that last one.
0-1 to Darryl. There's the fork ball. High drive into deep right field. Evans on the track and will make the catch. And it's the difference between the fork ball and the fastball. If he had hit a fastball like that, he hits it out. He was just a little in front on the forker.
He got under it, and Evans was able to drift back. You can't hit it much better than that. Classic swing. He kind of thinks it's gone. Evans, I thought right there he was decoying us. He had plenty of room.
Yeah, Dewey had it all the way, and here's Danny Heap, and he takes ball 1. So 1 away in the 4th. Heap flied to center deep, if you remember, and all Strawberry can do is think about no near and yet so far. 1-0. Remember the old expression, when a pitcher was in trouble, they ought to always holler, stick a fork in him, he's done. Well, the fork has really come back now to haunt the hitters. 2-0, the count to Danny Heep. 3-0.
If you talk about his pitches, his fastball number 1, slider number 2, his curveball, then his forkball. That's in order of how he uses them.
3-0 to Heep. 4-2 Red Sox. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning, 1 out. High, ball 4. So Rogers fighting it. He has walked 3. He has struck out 3.
Third baseman.
And the batter will be Howard Johnson, who struck out in the 2nd inning.
This is the concern area, too, for the Red Sox, is that middle relief. This is what they were worried about.
And we saw Nipper up briefly. He is not throwing now. The pen is quiet. Ball 1. Marty Barrett just trying to let Roger perhaps cool off for a moment. Go right at him. And John McNamara, who lifted Hurst for a pinch hitter last night and said after the game, I know where my neck is. My body would have been in the Charles River if they had blown that one. That was the quote of last night. 1 ball and no strikes. Fouled away. As we mentioned earlier, Davy Johnson put Howard Johnson in the lineup tonight because of the fact he wanted an extra left-handed bat. Ray Knight is slumping, and Johnson had experience against Clemens 2 years ago in the American League. 1-1. Fastball. High drive to right. Evans on the track at the wall, makes the catch. The ball seems to be dying out there, and there is no wind. The flag in center is just hanging limply.
But they talk about the swirling winds here. That's a ball that everybody, including Evans, I'm sure thought was out of here. He gets a real good cut at it. I mean, he's not fooled at all by this pitch. That's as good as he can hit it. He thinks it's gone when he hits it. And so does Evans, as you see him take a look at that fence. But the swirling wind, and I wonder if it's that break between the scoreboard and the stands.
When you look
made
in
the
right
difference.
field, between the scoreboard and the right field stands is a large gap, and there's a natural draft in there. And sure as heck, that had a lot to do with knocking that ball down. So Evans, who lost a home run last night, is now defensively on the end of a lost home run by Howard Johnson. Rafael, and all Hojo can do is think about what might have been. Ron Darling in the corner with him. The flag, of course, no indication at all.
And you know, Hernandez, it doesn't sound that crazy when you stop to think about it. I mean, watching those planes land, because they land according to the headwind.
In there, 0-1. So Danny Heep, who walked, still at first. The hitter is the tying run, and they've come close, but now the wind picks up a little bit and begins to blow out to right. 0-1. Fastball, that's hit into center, base hit. To second base goes Heep, and now Dwight Gooden is due up, and he will come up with 2 out. So Aguilera and Sisk stop throwing in the bullpen, and it's up to Gooden. Gooden would love to switch hit, as Bill Fisher is going out to talk to Roger Clemens, but the Mets told him, oh no, that right arm is too valuable. If you hit left-handed, you're going to stick that arm out in front of an inside fastball. So he stays as a right-handed batter. And Nipper now gets up for the 2nd time in the Red Sox bullpen.
I'm sure the Fisher's trying to buy some time, because this is one of those innings that if you get out of it, you want to take a roll call, because we've been able to check the numbers. We know what Dewey Evans' number is, 24, because we've seen it a couple times on Strawberry and Johnson's hit as we look at Al Nipper in the bullpen. Fisher buying some time, and of course with 2 men out, you bear down on the hitter and even forget about those runners. Just give them a casual look.
So we have 2 out in the 4th. 4-2 Red Sox. Rafael Santana is 2 for 2 against Clemens. Heap is at second base, and we've had 2 long fly balls to right for outs. In there.
Of course,
1-1.
depending, Vin, on what happens to Gooden, this will be one of the featured questions in the after the game interview, letting Gooden bat. You're sitting at home, you want to manage, what would you do?
No balls and 1 strike. 1-1. You get the impression that after seeing the long fly balls and the single by that consecutive time Clemens is working on 3 days, that Johnson feels he's going to catch him.
Well, Gooden hasn't exactly shut him down, though.
Nope. 1-1. Late on a fastball, hits it inside first to Buckner, who feeds Clemens coming over. A nice play for Billy Bucks as Gooden hits it inside out, and the Mets come up short, leaving 2, and we'll be right back. A man alone with his thoughts, and who could blame him? A broken hand keeping him out of the '75 World Series, and an incredible 1978 when he remained the only player ever to lead the majors in home runs, triples, and RBIs, the MVP, and it wasn't good enough to carry his club into the series, but here he is now.
He sure makes hitting simple when you talk to him. He says, I see the ball and I react, and when you can react, you don't need philosophies.
He struck out and flied to right. As usual, first ball hitter. Jim was talking about the fact that when he's in a slump, he goes up there and tries to get jammed, which is a strange way to put it. Breaking ball.
There's a reason behind that. He says, I want to get jammed because if I'm trying to get jammed, then I wait longer and I don't open up my shoulder. If I'm swinging too soon, then I'm in trouble. But if I wait to get jammed, then I'm waiting longer.
See if he bounces the curve. Nope, went with a fastball. 1-2. Rice has a tendency to chase the bad curve with 2 strikes, and we'll see if Gooden tries to still bounce one up to him. Not when you got that fastball, and there's a base hit for Rice, a fastball hitter into left field. So that means the Sox got the leadoff man aboard in the 3rd. They got a home run in the 4th, and they get a base hit to open up the 5th.
Evans.
That ball's the outside part of the plate. You saw him pull it. Both Hojo and Santana tried to get it. Neither one could get it, but Rice is so strong. Keep in mind that 4 times in his career he has started to swing, stopped the bat, and the torque was so great that it snapped off in his hands.
Well, here's Dwight Evans, who walked and struck out 0 for 1. Rice held on by Hernandez. 5th inning. Red Sox 4, Mets 2. And there's a drive into deep left field. Heap just watches this one, and it's going to go on the pavilion top, on the roof. And Dwight Gooden is not good enough tonight. It is 6-2 Boston in the 5th inning. And oh, did Dewey whack that one.
When you hit a ball that hard, that far, you're going up there looking for it, and I'm sure what dictated that looking for the fastball is what he did to Rice. We were all up there looking for the curveball, and he never threw it, and Dewey says, well, he must be having great confidence in his fastball. I'll look for it and jump on it, and he really does.
And you know what you have to think of as you watch Dwight Evans going around the bases, Davey Johnson saying, why did I let Gooden bat?